Okay, we're going live. We are live. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you're getting this opportunity to watch it, thank you for tuning in to Journey to Jerusalem. Um, like I said, I'm going to try to keep my commitment of making one video each week. Um, this time, um, well, I got a couple of things to talk about. But I think the most that's on my mind is dealing with what is going on now. A lot of people have been losing their lives dealing to the pandemic. A lot of people have been um, losing their lives for other things, natural reasons. We just had Little Richard lose his life. We just had Betty Wright to lose her life. You know, um, and it's a lot of like injustices and a lot of crazy things that are going on. Um, but what really stuck out to me was what um God was like leading me and telling me to do, which he was telling me was to focus. A lot of these things that we're not looking at, we're not thinking um what is happening and what are we fighting against. People think that we're fighting against injustice, which we are. We are fighting against injustice and things that are wrong, but how we fight against it makes all the difference. How you fight against something is all the difference. um the the reason a person can defeat someone else is that they focus on what needs to be focused on. Think about boxers. The boxer studies their opponent. They find out what their strengths are as well as their weaknesses are. They found out what their strengths are to protect and guard themselves, and to know how to protect themselves from their strengths, from their opponent's strengths. But they look for their weakness, because if they find out what their weakness is and they can tap into that weakness and make their weakness a strength, then you can attack and you can kill off your enemy. So that is basically um, what God was showing me. He was showing me a lot about how not to be distracted. Look at all the things that are going around. A lot of people have been plagued by that spirit of fear. And God tells us he did not give us a spirit of fear, but a power and of love and a sound mind. But I don't think we really take that into consideration when we go into the world. Thank you, Lord Jesus. I don't think we take that into consideration. And during this time is more prevalent than ever, more prevalent than ever to remember that. I was looking at on the news, which I really don't look at the news, um, but it's been coming on. If you get on Netflix or anything and you have commercials, they'll put that news little clip in there just for you to start feeding it in. And I'm like, why are they trying to do that? Which I know is all a tactic of fear. We are creatures of habit, and sometimes we get fearful of the unknown. Our lives have been turned upside down by this pandemic. A lot of people have been losing their lives to it. A lot of things had to shift and change in our lives. Not just for the adults, but for the children and the people that are around us. Can't go outside. The elderly can't go outside. People who are sick and immune systems are down can't go outside because of this. you know um we can't go to work. But well, some people can go to work. It's required for them to go to work, but it's not legal. It's an executive order for some of us to stay inside. So um sorry. Yeah, so um during this time I was just like, okay, when that happened, a lot of people were getting distracted, and we're looking at the virus and looking at, things that are out of our control. And during that time, God was telling me to just focus, get close to him, which I was trying to do, but some things I was getting a little off on. Um Now fast forward, I've been getting, better, and seeing the manifestation and seeing the difference and seeing things clearer, to understand that we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places, principalities, the government that we rule in, and if you don't attack it that way, in the right way, then you're going to get knocked out. Um, and it's so funny that I didn't even notice it um, until recently. Think about that guy. His name was Arbery, Ahmed Arbery or something like that. But they just put it in the news, that he was killed by two Caucasian men. This black man, if you haven't heard, he got killed by these two Caucasian men while he was jogging. They were following him in Georgia, and they shot him. Son, dad and son duo killed this guy. Um, and a lot of people have been outraged, as you should. But what got me was how people responded to what was going on, and instead of them, we've had this time in quarantine to sit back and retreat and grasp what we're really fighting against. A lot of people, I've noticed that a lot of people haven't taken that time and dealt with the thing seriously and listened to the voice, that instructive voice, the Holy Spirit, that's going to guide and lead them, because we all need that in order to make it during this time. This is not a time of dealing with logic, or dealing with justice by our own means, by fleshly means. We've seen that, and it was so shocking to me to see the same people going about things the same way as they were told, or what they used to doing. For instance, instead of them, saying, let's pray to God, that God seeks justice on this, and, pray on the families and on their behalf, and to have God have vengeance, because God, vengeance is the Lord. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord. That's what God said. A lot of people are like, we need to go to the justice system because our justice system is supposed to support us. Well, if you look at our justice system, how it's been time after time again, everyone can see, no matter if you're black, white, orange, purple, that especially in the United States, it has been socially unequal since the beginning of time. Even though they have laws that say that they're supposed to, but we have laws that have failed us. We have people that are in place that have failed us, who are not upholding the law, or creating laws that are not beneficial to the people, to us citizens of the land. Think about the Jim Crow laws. Think about the voting laws. Think about the voting laws that they're doing right now. People are not looking at that as well. Look at how you have to have an ID now. You have to, and now you have to have an ID, but they're moving the BMV and the driving places and the DMVs, because some of you guys have DMVs, but we have a BMV, a Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Some people have driving, but it's the same thing. They'll move it out of the area where they know that most of the population in one area don't have the transportation to get to the place. Counseling half of those people, or going to places where people have a lower literacy rate, making the opportunities very obsolete for them. So now they have to travel, X amount of miles just to get to a place to vote, and get to a place to voice their opinions and make their opinions heard. Look about the social injustices, even of living. They're talking about food shortages and outages and things like that. But I want to say this, okay? I lived in a city in America that was predominantly black. I want to say about 11% of the population was white, and a little bit Hispanic, and some other. But look at the injustices there. They talk about the food system and the food things that we have right now, the food shortages. But in that city that I lived in, there was only one supermarket And they're talking about a food shortage. And I mean, this population had over 80,000 people, but they're not considered a food shortage or a food desert. And not only that, they are unable, because it's against the law, to grow their own crops and to grow their own food just for them, not to sell to other people, but just for them to sustain life. You know, um, Yeah, so there are a lot of injustices that are going on in our land today, So it baffles me. It baffles me with people who are believers of the faith or of other faiths, to even think that you can tackle something, a spiritual thing, physically. You're not going to break down a corrupt justice system by marching or by protesting. Martin Luther King proved that during his time. Yeah, people saw the horror, they saw the things, but in reality, the only reason that they shut it down was that people started closing in and still making money that they couldn't benefit off of, and it knew it was going to shut their economy down, because those dollars would have really meant a difference, because we spend more money than everyone else. So at this moment in time, it baffles me for people to even think of that, and we need to stop getting so distracted on the physical things, the physical things that are going around us. Think about this whole um pandemic. Think about this. Yes, there are people that are dying from it. Yes, just like any other disease, any other flu. Think about, it's like any other flu. But think about the people who got it and got through it. Most of their testimonies was talking about with God, how God saved them, and how, their faith their faith turned around and became active, and it changed from inactive to active, and it just blossomed, and it was like, it was greater than anything that they were facing. You got to think of it that way. That's what God was really getting on my heart today, like this morning. I know it's wide in the morning, but I was trying to record it earlier, but I really couldn't, because everything was shutting down. I was trying to get on Facebook, it was shutting down. Trying to get on YouTube, it's shutting down. Everything's going down. But I kept pressing this time, because I was like, God was just dealing with me, talking about, if I don't move, this is not just for, that I'm telling you guys this for you. I'm telling this because this is me too. God is saying, if you don't move, don't get distracted. Don't get distracted by what is going on out there. But if you don't move and follow me, you will get swallowed up. You will get swallowed up. And a lot of people are doing that. They're thinking about taking things in their own hands. They're thinking about looking at the messages that are being sent to them, and instead of taking a step back and looking at it from a different perspective, they're so wandered into the mess, into the chaos, to not understand that it's projected fear that they want you to be in a state of fear. Because when you come with any kind of disease, it starts with the spirit of fear and a spirit of lack. And when you have that spirit of fear, you can't operate in the spirit of abundance. You cannot. Another thing that God told me to do, I had these boxes, and this is a testimony right now. I have these boxes that, I used to make, things out of everything. I have a YouTube channel where I wasn't even showing my face, and I was with my sisters, and we were building these, chairs, cardboard couches out of nothing. We were doing a lot of stuff like that. And so I would collect a lot of them, because a lot of my friends would try to buy ottomans out of me, and I would make good money with it. Especially like the companies and the businesses that are out here, they would pay me like $2,000, stuff like that, to build these things. And I was able to do it, and I was doing it. But got to the point where God was putting me in different adventures, not adventures, different tasks, different ventures, not adventures, but different ventures. But it seems like an adventure with God, because you protect it, and it's crazy. Not crazy, but it's dynamic. Um, but anywho, so I had all these boxes and they were flat, and I had them in my closets, and they just started collecting. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something. And I started to do a project like 2 days ago. Well, the other day, God told me, like, you can't keep these boxes in here. Now it's getting to the point of hoarding. And this spirit, what you're going to face right now. I'm going to give you something, but if you don't move, make room for it, then um you're not going to be able to receive it. Your blessing is here, but you're not going to be able to receive it. Oh, sorry, you guys. If you see my color, it's green. Yeah. Yep. Another color. I know. So I'm like, okay. And I was like, am I tripping? Like, no, I already know God has been speaking, so I'm not going to act slow anymore. Like, so I'm getting up and I'm getting rid of all this stuff. And that is the same thing. That is the same thing that is going on with our society today. We have to clean up our portals. We got to watch out what we're seeing. Yes, we know what's going on. We know that we are in the last days. Yes, we know. Okay, there is nothing, but you have to understand, it looks scary. I'm not going to say that it doesn't look scary, because when you start really realizing it, okay, yes, it looks scary, but you got to remember that God didn't give you that spirit of fear. He gave you power, love, and a sound mind. And during this time, we're supposed to have ourselves guarded with the whole armor of God, so we can be able to withstand it. These things are going to come. We can't take away from it. We can't shut it down. We can't change it. There's nothing we can do about that. And you can understand, when you understand that, you can take you're more in the present. You don't feel like you're helpless. You don't feel like you're out there. Yes, they're going to have these spirits and these entities, but we got to channel into God. We got to tap into God and keep God in the forefront, so that when the enemy comes and attacks, before he comes and attacks, we're going to be aware. God is going to show us and direct us. And if you keep a sound mind in him, and you keep focused on the Lord, then he's going to direct your path. He never lies. He is going to direct your path, and you're going to be able to withstand the wiles of the devil. You're going to be able to withstand the clever devices of the enemy. You're going to be able to withstand it. It says no weapon formed against you shall prosper. It didn't say that the weapon wasn't going to come and form against you and people wasn't going to attack you. It said it wasn't going to prosper, meaning that it wasn't going to take root. It wasn't going to go and build fruit. This is our time, yes, to go and build and to do what we need to do and get our businesses together, and to rapidly grow into God, because we know that this is not just for us, this is for his people. So when the time comes, we're going to be able and really ready to withstand the wiles of the enemy. So like I said, God was telling me, don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. There are a lot of things out here. A lot of people are trying to project fear. They're trying to project fear. Because fear is the number one cause of a disease. It really is. Think about when people say, oh yeah, someone has cancer. And now the person might not be fearing the issue, but the people around them can give out so much fear and so much negative impact that the person end up, all that fear grows around that, because it is a spirit. It will grow around and try to strangle out the life force out of somebody. That's why in the Bible, when God was talking about healing, was it Lazarus or something? It was like, okay, I don't want to mess it up, but I remember in the Bible, God was it was talking about how God, it was this man, he was a rich man, and his daughter was sick. As he was doing that, Lazarus no, I'm sorry, not Lazarus. It was the woman with the issue of blood. Okay, I need to find that out. But it was the woman with the issue of blood, and you know how she was talking about, she had so much faith that all she needed to touch was the hem of God's garment. So during that time, she wasn't even trying to get to talk to God. She was just like, I know this is true. God is true, that all I need to do is get close to him and touch him. I'm going to be healed, and she had leprosy for so long. She was just like, she had no option left, and she got healed. Now, as they was doing that, because they were supposed to be on their way to help help this guy with his daughter because she's dying in the bed in this mansion or whatever. So God, that happens. Jesus look around, see her, she's healed. Okay. Now all that faith, that's the faith. We're gonna show you an opposite side. Now they're not even looking at that. They get to the house and they find out that the girl is dead. The girl is straight dead, and they come out like, it's no need to worry the master because she dead. She gone. So God was like, Jesus was like, yo, let me come in here. Not like, yo, let me come in. But he's like, let me come in, like, let me come in. And people are like, why are you wasting your time? He had to get rid of all them people. He made all of them leave out the room. Why? Because they had a spirit of fear. They had a spirit of fear, which led to doubt and insecurity and seeing and looking at what things look on the outside. And they wanted, that was their justice. Since she did, then there's nothing that we could do. And God don't work like that. Believers are not supposed to work like that. God don't work like that. He said he work on the things that are unseen. He's the creator of all. He the beginning and the end. So he know how to raise from the dead. He knew all that. He knew when her time was. He did this right on time. He knew what was gonna happen. But he moved all of those people out the way. Move all the distractions, all the people that were saying, oh, this is too late, it's blah blah this, it's not gonna work. And guess what? He brought her back to life. She came back to life. Okay. He healed her and he brought her back. And he came out like nothing new because that's God. That's what he do. Okay. So that is the same thing. And we're supposed to be to act like God, be in the reflection of God, not to act like him, but have him inside of you so much that it permeates to the point that they see God. If God is in us, then we can do all the things that he has designed us to do and more. He said we're going to do greater exploits. So what you need to do in this time, for the most part right now, is to focus on what he's telling you. Don't look on the outside world. One thing he told me to do is to, and that's what got me this time, was to not watch television, not to watch the news in particular. If you guys have been watching my channel before, you know that I used to do reporting professionally, and God had me to step away from it. Now I didn't understand it before, but I understand it now. I understand it better now. I will never fully understand it until I get back to the white throne of judgment and God lets me know. you know so yes, and we have to be mindful of that. Don't get distracted about what other people are doing, and don't feel bad when you start talking about this and people who you are around are not feeling it. It's okay because I would rather have no friends on here and have no friends and have no subscribers and no believers on earth and did what I was supposed to do and have my riches in heaven than to have all these fake people around feeling lost and desolate on earth, and then to feel the rejection of God saying, depart from me, I know you not. Okay, because that is what is going on right now. This is separating the wheats and the tares. This is separating the peoples from I have and I have it, from I have it and I'm operating out of it. Um I know and I'm scared. I'm not operating out of it. I know, and I'm refusing to operate out of it. They're going in the same direction as the people who don't know or who didn't have an opportunity to do. And God is making it to a point where every single person is getting the opportunity to come to him and to know him for themselves, okay? To know them for themselves. So don't get distracted on that. Um they're gonna throw a lot of things out in your way, just like that whole Ahmed Aubrey. Was that Ahmed Aubrey? And I want you guys to really look at that. Like that's what really took me, because when I heard about it like 3 days ago, um, I was like, dang, that's kind of messed up. It's coming right after, like, why is it coming at this time? Right soon as we get calm. We just got calm from the whole pandemic thing. Literally, we got calm. Like, not calm, but I mean, we're finally getting to get released. They just released, especially for my state, they're releasing most of the states, to go out a little bit more. Things are dying down, but they need that fear. They feed See, evil feeds off of fear. The darkness has to hollow out things. Like if you, I don't really want to explain it too deep, but they need something to munch on, and if your spirit is of God, you can't feed off of that. Light brings shatters away the darkness, brings light into the darkness. It can't stay there. It has to move. It has to clear the way, but if you're in fear, it brings darkness and isolation and things like that. So it can feed, that spirit can feed off of things. And that's what they need. People are getting calm and more relaxed, and they're not in that fear mode, but they need some of that momentum to carry on. Um, but it made me think about the Aubrey guy. And it was like, this happened on what it happened in February. Oh goodness. Sorry about that. Let me look at this. This happened on the 23rd of February, 2020, okay? And they started reporting on this like in what, the 8th? The 8th of May, which was a couple of days ago. And it's like, if this happened and they like make this go viral, how instant our world is, it definitely would have went viral. You know what I'm saying? It definitely would have, just sparked. But people, they just put it in, they just put it on, and it happened. It went viral overnight. And you have to think about that. Like, is it really sad that that happened to him once again? Yes, yes. Was it wrong? Yes, of course. But then you have to ask yourself, why is it that the powers that be are letting this happen, showing this to us now? Why are they showing it to us now? Why didn't they show it in February, in March, in April? Why? Why are they not? You got to ask yourself that question, because during this whole quarantine, a lot of things haven't been going on that people can report in, because they have been a lot of people inside of the house. Even though there have been a lot of people that have been breaking the rules, they have been a lot of people inside of the house. So the news went down. A lot of things, started shifting. So you got to just ask yourself. That was one thing that I was just like, okay, well, if this happened then, that would have been newsworthy during the time when it wasn't that much news going on. So why wasn't it presented? And then if you didn't think it was newsworthy then, why would you wait 3 months later and bring it to us? Why? Because it's going to send outrage. It's going to send, people that were finally getting calm to get more panicky, and you haven't had a chance to relax your thoughts and relax your mind and cool your mind and to get focused. So yeah, it's all a game. It's all a game. Um, if you stay into this world and you still tap into it and you don't tap into the spiritual, you will be lost. You will be lost, because the things that you are being shown is something that happens after. The things in the spiritual always happen before. Just like if they're hiding the truth from you, this whole thing about what's going on with this guy and everything, that was months ago. They could have showed that to you all those other months. They wanted that. They need that reaction. So um don't get distracted. Understand, we have a bigger fight. We're wrestling against principalities, against rulers of the darkness. They're fighting for territory, whether it's going to be light or dark. Now we know that eventually they have their time. Everything has their set time. um so we know those things are coming to happen. But at this time, we have authority, and it is our right and our privilege, not only our right and our privilege, but our duty to show light and to permeate light and to let other people know, because there are people who are really troubled in the mind about, things going on and on and on and on and not getting that break. And we as believers have to be that light. So Um, yeah, don't get distracted, y'all. Please don't. Please don't. Yeah. Hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. And thank you so much.